Hi, welcome to Brunch with Bree, who is so excited to learn more about signs. And I'm going to go ahead and consider this how to recognize signs from the divine. Now, the divine can mean anything you want it to be. That could be signs from God, signs from source, signs from the universe, signs from angels, guides, ancestors, whatever that means to you. We can ask any of them for these signs. We can, trust in these signs as well. So, whatever resonates with you, you can ask multiple sources for this. You can ask God and angels and guides, and ancestors. You don't have to limit it to one, but if one resonates more than the other, that's what you should go with. So, what are signs? That's a good place to start. Is it, the superstitions of seeing a black cat cross your path? Some people think it's a negative omen. Some people say it's good luck, actually, depending on what culture you're from. But other people, it could be you've just lost a loved one, or you lost a loved one a while ago, and you're pretty sure that something is a sign. A story for mine was my mom's mom, before she passed away, said she would send hummingbirds and dragonflies as her messengers to say that she's well and she's checking in on us. So after she passed, I had these most amazing experiences with dragonflies that I had never had before in my life, that were pretty uncommon, pretty unusual. Like I went on a date with a guy she set me up with before she passed for our year anniversary, and there were thousands of dragonflies outside of the restaurant he took me to. So, how is that not a giant, beautiful sign? But they might not be so big and bold and in your face. So, how do you recognize them? We're going to start with set an intention. Signs happen all the time, but if you don't have an intention, it's going to be harder to recognize maybe what that sign means. The dragonflies was not, didn't set an intention, but because my grandma said it was her messenger, and I was on a year anniversary date with the guy she set me up with, I knew that that was a sign. So when you have these, preconceived notions, thought ideas, it's easier to see signs. So that kind of works the same way with setting an intention. So how do you set an intention? You can do it through prayer. A lot of people who have strong religious backgrounds, you have a good prayer practice. And we can ask for signs through prayer. And people who are more on the spiritual, outside of the religious context, tend to ask for signs in meditation. They set their intention before they meditate, and they go into a meditative state and often receive signs there. Well, what if you don't have a good prayer practice or a strong meditative practice? Well, you can also just use your thoughts. I am going to give an example of these thought experiments and these universal signs in a little bit later in this video. So, setting your intentions, asking for a sign, and asking for it to be clear, and maybe you could ask for it to be understood, but that's not always going to happen because the universe loves to talk in metaphors. So, step one. Set an intention. What do you want a sign for? And you may be even able to set the intention for how you would like to receive the sign. That will come into play in this thought experiment I will talk about later. The second one is be open. Like I said, the universe loves to give you signs and metaphors and not very clearly understood items. In my near-death experience, it was the same thing. And each time I get back into, this meditative space that's reminiscent of places of my near-death experience, it's all metaphors. It's never crystal clear. And when it is, it doesn't usually turn out like I thought it would. So once again, never crystal clear. So be open. The signs could be unexpected. They can happen as synchronicities, coincidences, patterns. They can happen in your dreams. You can wake up with an intuitive hit, or just throughout the day, you can get an intuitive hit. And they could come through in forms of other people. So just be very open to whatever it could be. It could present in a myriad of different ways. Okay, so first, set an intention to be open to what it could be. I am going to share my favorite thought experiment. So if you're interested in doing some thought experiments, I'm sure you could go online and find some. My favorite ones have come from a book called E Squared, or Energy Squared. E Squared is the name of the book. E with a square. I forgot the author. I tried to find the book before I hopped on today, and I pull it out every couple years and go through it and do these experiments again. It really helps recognize signs, build up your intuition, and trust with that universal language. So tried to find it. Of course, I didn't look near early enough for the millions of places it could be. So it's just E Squared. And I can, if anyone's interested, comment, what's that book? And I will Google it and drop it in the comments for everybody. If anyone's interested, it's a great book. I think she's got 1, 2, or 3 out, 2 or 3 out now, with just different universal experiments and thought experiments you can play. They're so much fun. My favorite one that came of this, was, oh gosh, probably a decade ago, around there. I was a waitress at Red Lobster, and I had a big top, or a table of 8 or more people, and that at Red Lobster meant there were 2 servers on it, just to provide the best service possible. Red Lobster and, some of these Darden restaurants, although Red Lobster is no longer part of Darden. Sorry for that tangent. Anyways, there were 2 of us on a table with 8 or more people. So we served them, they tipped us very nicely, and, they walked out. And I should have started with the thought experiment before I started with what happened. Okay, so rewind. I am under-caffeinated and under-caloried this week, so my apologies for the semi-scattered live today. The thought experiment was asking the universe for a gift. I made my intention very clear that I wanted a gift in the next 24 hours. And I wanted it to be known without a doubt it was a gift. So that was the experiment. And you think it and you let it go. You don't just constantly think on it throughout the day. You just kind of have that intention, set it up, let it go. All right, now back to the Red Lobster. So we had this large table. They walked out, tipped us very well. We're going, to get ready for probably more tables, whatever we did, as a server. But a few minutes later, one of the gentlemen came back from the table and handed me a small wad of 20s. And he looked me in the eye and said, "This is not a tip. This is a gift." I mean, that was 100% spot on. It was well known. The universe made it known it was a gift. It was separate than the tip. He actually left and came back in. He didn't add it to, the back of the check or anything like some people do. He walked out and came back in with a gift for us. So that was one of the funnest experiments I played. There's some other ones. My mom loves to play this one with a car that, it's a rare car she hasn't seen in decades. And she'll think about it, let it go, and give the universe a week for it to show up. It always shows up. So there are tons of different experiments. Like I said, you can Google them. I can drop the book name if you would like. And it's a really fun, interesting way to build up trust with your intuition and the universe. So let's get into kind of the next part about recognizing signs. And I know we've talked about mindfulness many times on here. We're going to talk about it again because this is mindfulness in a new light. Instead of mindfulness and meditation and mindfulness throughout the day, in something you're doing. For me, I love mindfulness in cooking and mindfulness walks. There's also, if you practice mindfulness while looking for signs, you observe the world around you without judgment. And the part without judgment is really where you can start to recognize signs. Because not everything is a sign. You could find a sign in everything if you look hard enough, it's just, we overtalk our brain. So by observing without judgment, we can stay grounded and really actually distinguish what is a sign and what isn't. So mindfulness is huge, and just observing the world around you without judgment is absolutely crucial to accepting these signs. If I had of course I had a little judgment in my gift from the universe, but that was exactly what I asked for. I asked for a gift in the next 24 hours. It happened, I think, in 12 or 14. And the guy came in and said it was a gift, just exactly what I asked the universe for. And, sure, it could say it's a coincidence. I could talk myself out of it. Or I could be, someone else could say, well, that doesn't mean the universe. That was just, it just happened. Or someone might say that I don't know. You could talk yourself in and out of it, but I wasn't expecting it that way. I wasn't going to be like, some guy is going to walk in here and give me an extra $20 as a gift. So I didn't have the expectations, and I just accepted, and I intuitively knew that that was the response from the universe. Especially this was game 2 or 3 or 4 at this point, so already a few of them had come into play. And trusting your intuition is so big in this as well. I had a client that, she knew she got a sign. She asked for a sign, she got a sign, but then she talked herself out of it. A week went by and she's like, no, you know what? That was just a coincidence, and maybe I was overthinking it and da 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 da. But she talked herself out of her intuition. So we can talk, that's where our logical brain comes in and interferes with all of our soul, knowledge, and intuition. So if you need help reconnecting your intuition, we are programmed out of it with our culture, with our religion, with our families, with our upbringings. Everything programs us out of intuition. So if you're struggling with connecting that, drop intuition help in the comments and I'll reach out and figure out, how we can reignite that for you, because intuition is such a beautiful gift we are all born with, and we let go. That's, the world teaches us to not trust in it. So I would love to help you get it back. So trust your intuition. Another one that helps with building your intuition and recognizing signs is keeping a journal. Anything you think might be a sign. Once again, try to be grounded and mindfulness in this. But if you think, you feel, and a sign, write it down and just see if there are any patterns that come up and anything that you can actually start to decipher. Close to keeping a daily journal is a dream journal. Really important way that a lot of people can recognize signs. And this might not work for everybody. It doesn't always work for me. Sometimes it does, but keep a dream journal. Go to bed right before you fall asleep. Set your intention. Either use a thought, like in the thought experiment in the universe, the game I just mentioned. Ask in prayer, or, if you meditate before bed, I guess it's a good place to ask for it too. But you can just simply have that thought, put out the intention, and ask for it to show up in your dreams in a way that you can understand. And in a way you can understand, may or may not happen, but just pay attention to what you dream for the next few nights, as well as how you feel in the morning. I know one of them didn't come to me in a dream, but I woke up with this gut knowing I had to make this change that, seemed unrelated, but was extremely related. And yeah, so just keeping a dream journal and how you feel waking up, you can start to see patterns or decipher or go back. What also helps in these journals and reflecting on them is start to study some symbolism. Throughout cultures, throughout religions, throughout our whole history, people have known that the universe talks, and they have been trying to figure out how to listen. That's partially how prayer, meditation, rituals all come up. Is we all know that the universe talks to us, God talks to us, our ancestors, angels, our guides. They're talking to us and giving us information. A lot of times we just aren't aware of how to one, recognize it, and two, how to understand it. So by studying on the different symbolisms, you can start to see the commonalities. So there have been so many commonalities in history between numbers, animals, colors, patterns, nature. There's been patterns throughout history. Nothing has really changed. The way we interpret it might a little bit. But start studying those and start studying that and seeing how it relates to what you've been seeing and what you've been asking for. The last huge piece to recognizing and understanding signs of the universe and going with your intuition. I know this is going to surprise a lot of you who've heard me talk, but gratitude. Express gratitude for these signs, whether or not you understand them yet. If you understand them, it's easier to have gratitude for them. And when you don't, it can be a little frustrating, like, well, what's this? This is a sign, but I don't understand it. And you could get frustrated. But by having gratitude, you open your heart. And by opening your heart, you have a quicker highway to the communication that happens with the universe and God and angels. So having gratitude for the signs you do see, and especially the ones you recognize, but make sure you also do them for the ones you don't. And if you're still having, trouble, I was trying to say struggles and trouble at the same time. If you're still struggling with seeing signs or recognizing them or believing, what you're seeing, we are full of self-doubt. We have been programmed out of intuition and programmed into a lot of self-doubt. Reach out to me. This is one of my specialties, is really helping people reignite that connection with their intuition. It hasn't disappeared. It's just been pushed really far down. And I love helping people reignite their intuition because it really opens up and makes a lot of things easier. So if you need help, reach out to me. If you just are kind of a little stuck, reach out to me. Once again, if you need intuition help, specifically put intuition help. If you need sign help, put sign help, and I can help you. Maybe you have gotten the same sign or signs that are telling you something, but you just don't know. I'm also really good at interpreting signs. So I would love to help you. Drop me a comment and let me know if anyone else could use this. Invite them to the group. Point them to this video, point them to me. I'll get them to the video. And, let's start seeing the world in a different way. I will see you next week.